Tonight on Lowdown, we'll go to a lip sync battle held here at UCM and also stop by a local restaurant for some stand-up comedy.
We'll also sit down with Sabrina Butler to talk about her book, Life After Death Row, and we get a behind-the-scenes look at the recent concert held here on campus.
All this and more tonight on Lowdown. Hello, and welcome back to Lowdown, a show put on by the students of the University of Central Missouri in Warrensburg. I'm Rick Fahler.
And I'm Ranjanae Hill. Thanks for joining us this evening as we continue to dive into all the cool things happening here at UCM.
Speaking of, the Union held its first lip sync battle, and Natalie DiTilio talked to some of the contestants to gain some insight into their interesting performances.
And we also visit Fitters here in Warrensburg to talk to a couple stand-up comedians who are taking full advantage of their new open mic nights.
And staying on the genre of comedy, we interviewed John Raymond Fisher to talk about his musical brand of stand-up.
Spotlight is an organization on campus dedicated to serving the students. One student amongst the many involved with Spotlight is Scout Miller.
My name is Scout Miller, and I am the comedy coordinator for Spotlight. My favorite part about Spotlight is just the aspect of being involved in things. I like the being creative and being able to make posters. I also like the involvement of whenever people come to campus, I get to work with them. I get to be the person that they talk to, and so that aspect of like the job and stuff is really interesting, and I really enjoy it. Working on my people skills and working with like agents and stuff like that. It's a nice skill to have for later on. We just like to bring activities for people to do. Most of the time they're free. It just gives you a chance to interact and be involved more on campus.
One of the most recent activities was a comedy performance from a talented and funny musical comedian.
24/7 hustling all the time unless it's happy.
I started doing improv about 10 years ago. Improv and sketch, film, a lot of short films, a couple indies and stuff like that. Performing on the whole about 10 years ago, stand-up about 5 years ago, musical comedy about 3.
Just like imagine them like flying around and smoke.
After doing stand-up comedy for so long, how did John manage the transition, and what made him switch so far into his career?
I think it was kind of a natural transition. I've always sort of defaulted to music when I felt lost or unsure of what I'm doing. I'll just kind of come back to my guitar and just play. I felt kind of that way with stand-up. Like there's just so many comedians in LA. And I remember feeling like, God, like this is gonna take years to find my voice. And it's a cool process, but I was impatient, and so I just sat down with my guitar and just played to kind of think and process all that. In that process, I kind of just started writing comedic songs and then taking those to open mics and trying them out and figuring out what was funny and what wasn't and making them stronger.
For students looking to attend events by Spotlight, what is there to expect? We asked an audience member to find out.
I'm Sean Lehman, and I'm just a student at UCM. It was very entertaining, very enjoyable. I just wish a lot more people would have shown up. I think once they would have heard what it was like, they wish that they would have gone.
So how did Spotlight manage to snag such an amazing talent for an entertaining event, and just how did they find John Raymond Fisher?
Part of our Spotlight team went to a conference that's like a student activities conference to find performers and events that you can bring to campus. So they found John Raymond Fisher. He performed at the NACA conference that they'd went to. They really liked him, they booked him, and then came back and told me, hey, John Raymond Fisher's coming, here you go.
How do students get access to this amazing organization?
So if you're interested in Spotlight, we have VIP meetings every Thursday at 4 p.m. VIP is our general body. So if you want to come see what's going on campus, they're here in 217.
What was it like for John being booked through Spotlight?
Yeah, personable organization. They're cool, fun folk.
In closing, John said,
check out Sean Hanron. He's one of my best friends. He's going to be performing tonight. He's opening. He's doing 15, and he's a phenomenal comedian. Not a terribly nice human being, but if you can put that aside, if you can forget about the torment and the rage and the storm that's brewing inside him, I think you like his material.
For KMOS, I'm Jacob Clark.
The group Spotlight on UCM's campus is known for putting on different events for students. And this time, they did something they haven't done before.
Our Spotlight hosted the first annual lip sync battle for the University of Central Missouri, and it was extremely exciting. All 4 groups that competed did extremely well, and I think everyone should be proud of the work they did today.
The 4 groups that competed were Alpha Tau Omega, Phi Sigma Kappa, Soul, or the Student Organization for Latinos, and Famous. The lip sync was 90s themed, and the first place winners won $500, while second place won $200. The winners were decided by a group of judges, and one of those judges was Diallo Sims. And while the groups were told to have fun performing, there were some rules involved.
My participation in this project was to judge. I'm actually a drag performer in Kansas City, and I perform here at the annual drag show. So lip syncing is something that I'm well versed in, and he thought that I would be a good fit for tonight's performance. So the rules when we were judging, not have any lifts from the waist up, and they had to stay fully dressed, understanding that this is a college campus and skin sells. So I think we wanted to be family friendly and appropriate, and I think all of the teams did that. There was to be no profanity in the music choices, and everything had to be very nice, very clean lined, and very simply choreographed, or it had to be grouped together to where everyone could follow. And some of the criteria that they were judged on was their choreography, their song choice, the transitions that they used from one song to another, and their ability to obviously lip sync, and I think everyone performed well.
The group that won first place was Alpha Tau Omega, while second place was Phi Sigma Kappa. Dylan Higginbottom, a member of Alpha Tau Omega, helped put together his fraternity's performance.
Honestly, myself and Juan Perez, we just sat down one night and we just looked up 90 songs. We were kind of confused about how the layout was going to be, so we got stuck with a Nirvana song, but we like the way those songs went about, and they're all about dancing. So, well, thankfully, this semester for homecoming, we were paired up with the Mule Kickers, and we made some really good relationships through there. So we had Kayla Hutflis and Sydney Nicole. She helped us out. I mean, they both helped us out, and I used to be a dance captain for my show choir, so we had a great time doing it.
For Lowdown, I'm Natalie DiTilio.
President of the up-and-coming comedy club, Colin Bell, hosted their first annual open mic night at Fitters on March 8th. Here's what he had to say.
So this event is this is called Genius Party Comedy Open Mic, and it's an event that I created because I wanted people in town to experience and get a chance to do stand-up comedy, along as people from outside of town and people from the university. I'll be opening and I'll be hosting, and through that hosting I'll be telling a couple of jokes and stuff like that.
Though quite the comedian himself, he tells us who he was excited to see perform.
One comedian I'm very forward to seeing tonight is Lauren Logan, and I'm also excited to see a couple of other comics that we have. We have 2 comics from the Kansas City Comedy Festival, Jared Langley, and the other one is Bryce Stanley, and I'm very excited to see them.
Another member of the club, Lauren, talks a bit about the show.
Basically just anybody who wants to get up and tell some jokes, they can do that. So I know a lot of people, it's hard to find a platform as a comedian to get to tell jokes and to really get your voice out there. So that's what Colin's trying to build here tonight, what the comedy club's trying to do.
Lauren also tells us who she's excited to see perform.
Colin's pretty funny, Melissa's funny, Trenton's hilarious. So we have a lot of great people performing tonight.
Comedian Trenton goes into depth about his comedic background, style, as well as his favorite performer of the night.
I've been doing stand-up for off and on 2 years. I expect to motivate people with it. My style's more of a motivational speaker with a comedic twist. I'm excited for Norm Dexter. I've been to the Uptown Arts Bar in Kansas City, and I've personally seen some of his material, and he's great. He's brought some comedians along with him, and anybody who Norm thinks is funny, it's gotta be funny.
Trenton goes on to express the effect comedy has on his life.
Comedy has personally changed my life, and I'm sure it'll change other people's lives. And I know a lot of people are reluctant to do it, but it's all about having fun, and the open mics are just an opportunity for people to go up there with a friendly audience and know that, you know, at the end of the night, if you get up there and fail, you can just do better next time.
Colin invites our UCM students as well as the Warrensburg community to come out, support, and have fun.
I hope that this becomes a success. I hope it's something where, you know, if people don't feel like they want to do comedy, they can still come and watch, and then hopefully they can come tell a story or, you know, come, you know, do whatever they want, do improv, do sketches. This is open for anybody in the school and the community.
I'm Brianna Blocker reporting for Lowdown.
So if you're looking to showcase your talent, head downtown and try your hand at some comedy.
It's great to see all the wonderful talent that UCM pulls in to entertain the students here on campus. Speaking of, the Somerset and Ray Schwimmer recently performed here at the Rec, and our very own Adrian Columbus had a backstage pass.
UCM also held the next installment of the Pleiades Visiting Writers Series. Natalie DiTilio has the details.
Students packed the university's student rec for UCM's first concert series featuring pop group The Somerset and popular rap group Ray Schwimmer. We got the opportunity to meet up with the lead singer of The Somerset, Brian Logan Dales, and he talked about how the group got started.
So John and Stephen Gomez from the band, they're brothers, and Jess Bowen, our drummer, the three of them, they met each other in middle school. They kind of learned their instruments together, and they played in a few bands through high school. And then when I was about 17, we all met and we started the Somerset. I would have been about a senior in high school back then, but so that was 9 years ago.
Definitely getting the audience excited with their musical genius, Brian enlightened us on what their writing process was like.
Every album has been a different process, and this is our fourth album as a band. Like I said, we've been a band for 9 years, so every album has been a different process. But this one, it was probably the longest we've ever taken making a record. Took us like a year and a half to make. John and Stephen Gomez, they produced the record. It was a lot of songs that I had written or collaborated on with a few other people, or while I was traveling. I spent a year kind of traveling quite a bit. And these are just kind of a dog pile of songs that I had just kind of, that we had, and then John and Stephen kind of started producing and making them come to life.
Ending the concert with the bang, rap group Ray Schwimmer hit the stage for an unforgettable performance. Only having a few seconds in their schedule to answer questions, the group left saying,
"The crowd was great. I miss performing for people my age. They awesome. 1 or 2 times, y'all just might see me. Shrimp like. Crowd was damn crazy.
Thank you.
Also, y'all got some pretty good football players because they caught me and they didn't even see me coming."
Getting the crowd involved and moving to the beat, the group came and impressed those in attendance. Ending the concert with their most popular hit, No Type, the concert definitely did not disappoint. Reporting for Lowdown, I'm Adrian Columbus.
The future is here.
The UCM Gallery of Art and Design is known for bringing different artists to UCM's campus, and recently they brought 2 authors and an illustrator to showcase their work.
The name of my book is Poetry Comics from the Book of Hours. It's hard to say what it's about because it's a book of poems, basically, but in general, it's a lot of poems dealing with love, loss, weirdness, strangeness in the world, the human condition.
Bianca Stone is a Brooklyn-based poet and illustrator who thought up a new idea for how people experience poetry books.
It's poetry comics, so it's kind of a new genre of putting together visual art and poetry in a kind of seamless way, not so much illustrating the poem as illuminating the poem in a new way. A lot of the poems, or not a lot, but at least half of the poems I'd already written for my collection, Somebody Else's Wedding Vows. And those poems came about, I wrote them about 5-7 years ago. I usually decide the artwork based on the poetry. The poetry comes first, and then I take that and I see what I can come up with and what it inspires and what it makes me think of in my mind. And I was playing a lot with like the comic book form, so I was reading like a lot of these vintage like Archie comics that I used to read, and so I made comics using old like 80s comic book ads and stuff inside. And also I was playing off of the idea of the religious books that are called Hours books. They were big in the medieval times, and they were like an illuminated manuscript of all these prayers that you do throughout the day. And really that was one of the first books ever made and on a larger scale, and they were all really intricately hand done with illustrations.
Georgiana Smith is an author whose book is based on an event personal to her as well as many other people.
One of my professors, my poetry professor, and asked me if I would be interested in writing about the Joplin tornado, and I have family who lives down there, so I kind of felt personal to me to write about that sort of thing.
For Lowdown, I'm Natalie DiTilio.
Hopefully that concert is the first of many great artists coming to UCM.
Let's switch gears now and talk about an exoneree who spoke at Hendricks Hall on her book and her experiences, and a dancer who's fighting her way back from a devastating injury.
A simple jog around her Mississippi neighborhood quickly spiraled into a case of capital murder. At the age of 18, Sabrina Porter was wrongfully convicted of killing her 9-month-old son.
Well, I was sentenced to die, and I'm hoping to, get people to know what's going on. It's just not just seeing a face, just knowing that I'm a real person. So that's when they charged me with capital murder. They put me in that jail cell. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. To be sentenced for a crime that you didn't commit, being placed on death row, knowing your life is before you, it's very hard.
During her 6.5 years in prison, Porter spent 2 years and 9 months on death row, and she was innocent.
Instead of going through all these different trials. I saw my attorneys 2 days before trial, after I had already sat in the county jail for 1 year. So, I had no preparation. I didn't know what I was supposed to do as far as the jury. I didn't understand what was going on, really.
Sabrina has a passion to change the face of sentencing in our country, as well as investigations and the way suspects are treated.
I kept trying to tell them the truth, They don't want to hear that. I think race played a role in my case because it was not a jury of my peers. It was just the way the whole court system thing was set up. You could tell that it was racially motivated. I paced the floors. Listen for everything.
She's a part of the Witness to Innocence Project. She's an advocate for ending the death penalty in the United States.
I was to tell you that I was going to actually die. And I want the younger generation to really take a look at the justice system, and I think that they can go in and approve a lot of things that have been messed up for so many years. And that's the reason why I like to talk to the youth, because they are our future, and I feel like you guys can, change things. It may not happen in my lifetime, but I think it will in you guys. So.
We caught up with student Blaine Hubert, who was very passionate about the night's event and had a few words to share.
I feel like I learned that not every case is cut and dry. Not everyone who gets the death penalty deserves it, and definitely not everyone that gets executed via death penalty is innocent, or is guilty, I'm sorry.
Wellman says she just wants to share her story so that other people don't have to go through what she went through.
We're watching you, because if you get behind that and start making them hold somebody.
Reporting for Lowdown, I'm Adrienne Columbus.
Grace, beauty, strength, elegance. When one speaks of dance, this is what comes to mind, and when looking at UCM Prospect student Caitlin Nolte, she embodies all these characteristics. However, stepping onto the dance floor has been one of the toughest challenges she's faced within the past year.
I danced when I was 2 years old, and I started at CPAC, so I did like the whole competition girl type of thing, and that was fun for a while, but then I quit when I was 12.
After trial and error of other dance studios in Columbia and college around the corner, Caitlin no longer wanted to be viewed as a competition girl and taken more seriously in her art. That's what led her to Missouri Contemporary Ballet.
We are a pre-professional training school, which means that our students are training for a career in ballet. So our main focus here is ballet.
So I came here 2 years ago because I wanted to have a better ballet background and stuff.
She didn't have the opportunity to have quite as much ballet training until she came here, and so she had a very strong background in jazz and modern.
Time last year, Caitlin wasn't sure if she'd be able to dance again due to a sports-related injury.
So I found out that I have a disease called Chiari malformation, and it's whenever your spinal cord and the tonsils in the back of your head are too close together, so your cerebral spinal fluid can't flow the right way.
For that, she was really struggling with her injury because she really, really wanted to be at that level that she was before her injury, and it wasn't possible at the time.
And at least trying surgery would have been better than nothing, because at that point in time, dance was really hard to do. So I had brain surgery.
After her surgery, I know she had to kind of come back into dancing slowly, but once she came back and was able to dance, I mean, I've just seen so much improvement in everything.
Ironically, this surgery helped to change Caitlin's perspective of dance. That's when she found herself realizing this sport was no longer just for fun, but a lifeline.
A stronger person. Like, I had to sit out from dance and I had to endure everything else, and I could have had dance completely taken away instead. So I'm happy that it happened, because I've grown stronger and I've been able to fight a situation that could have been a lot worse. And of course, when I was younger, it was just kind of something to do, an activity to go to after school. But now it means a lot, because I've had it taken away and I haven't been able to dance, and so I had to sit out and watch other girls do what I loved. And every time I'm at class, I take everything so seriously, because it does mean so much to me now, because I might not be able to be doing this in a year or so. So it means everything to me.
She's very strong-willed. She really is very goal-oriented. She knows what she wants to achieve, and she really, really works hard to do it. She doesn't ever like to take a step back or settle down or anything. She likes to always keep pushing forward.
In the recent weeks, only months out of surgery, Caitlin has continued to push forward at a childhood dream of hers, being on a college dance team, and trying out for the prestigious Point Park and other schools like UMKC, Mississippi State, KU, and UCM.
It's close to home, so I would be able to come back home and visit my parents and stuff. And it's also the fact that I really have never not been in Columbia. And so having a closer school it's kind of I don't have to be that worried.
Caitlin may be leaving Columbia soon and saying goodbye to Missouri Contemporary Ballet, but her impact and dedication to dance will continue to live on. Reporting for Lowdown, I'm Ranjanae Hill.
Hey there, kids. I know what you're thinking. Tim isn't doing anything wrong here. He's just charging his phone, right? Wrong. Tim is charging his phone in the slowest way possible. If Tim wants to charge his phone at the metaphorical speed of an airplane, he needs to put it in airplane mode. By putting his phone in airplane mode, he is shutting off certain processes that are going on in the background, bogging down his charging speed. Now that he's in airplane mode, his charging is going to fly. Make sure to tune in next time to see what Tim will do wrong next.
To close out the show this evening, we give you a trailer for an upcoming documentary about a trip the UCM Concert Choir and Wind Ensemble took to the Big Apple.
KMOS senior student Shane Suter and UCM Relations Britton Williams put together this wonderful little preview of what's to come.
Wow, seriously, I'm moved, man. Yeah, that at the end, yes, that climax, guys. That's, that moment, I relived the moment I wrote this piece. If a composer can share that with you, thank you for bringing the notes to life and sharing that with me.
So we just finished our first rehearsal here in New York City. The kids are playing very well, they're excited. It's cool to see the journey, all come together and pointing, directly right at that arrival on Saturday night in Carnegie Hall.
So with this, it's kind of taking, real world experience to a whole new level. Because sure, you know, you practice in the classrooms, you practice at home, you do what you can, but it's just not gonna feel the same until you're actually here, and then you actually get to do it, and you get to put that in your little book for the rest of your life.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for tonight. But don't fear, the show in its entirety and the individual segments can be found on our KMOS TV YouTube page.
Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm Ronjanae Hill.
And I'm Rick Failer.
Good night. Was I supposed to stop?
Yeah.
Because you did this little handshake.
I did this.
Oh,
because he was doing that, so I don't like that.
I thought you were doing like a little tambourine
I was
thing.
dancing
I was
to
like,
the
what?
music.
Yeah, I
Almost.
like.
That was the first mess up we've had in like over a month.
Whoa, because we haven't been shooting.
Performances.
And we also bitter.
Bitter?
Oh, dang it,
That
I
was
messed up.
Concert choir and wind ensemble took to the Big Apple.
KMOS's very own. I don't know what's
You
so
messed
weird
it up.
about that. Yeah, yeah.